I get the war of attrition is something that you always have to be worried about when you're getting ready for an upcoming season. I totally get that. And you do have to temper and get this. Forgive me, maybe it's my mentality because I'm a defensive-minded guy. So, maybe that's where I'm coming from. But at the end of the day, man, you want to be a champion, you got to work for it. You can't be sitting around going, well, if I get hit by lightning today or get hit by a bus, okay? Or like I said, if you're walking out and all of a sudden you break your leg because you fall off your steps. I mean, you can't be concerning yourself with that. Football show with Big Silz. How you doing? And we welcome aboard a bunch of new people because I know now you're looking for a new home. With some of the things that have been going on in Philadelphia, we know that the second option for you is right here with Big Silz. Please hit the like button. You may sit around and do me a favor too, because Big Silz is kind of like a foot fungus. You look at it and you're like, this is disgusting. But after a while, you learn to live with it as you get older. That's kind of what we are here, okay? It grows on you. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. I'm going to leave it alone. That's too inside. So anyway, man, we got a big show today. We call it the National Football Show, but you know what else we do here? We bring on personalities. You guys loved Rick Barry. We got the NBA Finals starting tomorrow. Who better to get on than our legendary Hall of Famer who brings it every time? Rick Barry will join us at the bottom of this hour. I'm going to ask him what he would do with Joel Embiid, with James Harden, and then we'll get his predictions on what's going to happen with the NBA Finals. And are you ready for this? Hour number 2. I don't know how this is going to go. Because Nails, you could get one Lenny Dykstra or you could get another Lenny Dykstra. I've had exceptional interviews with Lenny, and I've had some interesting ones with Lenny Dykstra. Okay? So, Lenny Dykstra will be with us in hour number 2. I hope he makes it. He retweeted and did everything, and he said he's looking forward. He was even going to do a video. I said, that's all right. I go, Len, let's just get on the show tomorrow. So that'll be in hour number 2 at 4:30 Eastern time. Lenny Dykstra, the legendary Philly and also New York Met. 86 Mets, everyone knows the 30 for 30. All right, please hit the like button. And I want to start it out with you with this. I don't want to practice hard. I'm afraid of injuries. I don't want anybody to get hurt on my Philadelphia Eagles team, so we're going to have limited scrimmages and practices and OTAs. I'm going to keep everybody fresh when the July training camp starts. The Philadelphia Eagles, in context here, believe in practicing less to preserve the health of their football team. They believe in practicing less. With a young football team, with new faces, they believe in less practice. Now, I tweeted Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy Johnson believed in more physical practices because Jimmy had a theory that the Dallas Cowboys, who were the youngest team in the league when they won those back-to-back Super Bowls with Jimmy, they were the youngest and the healthiest team in the league. They had stats that showed that they gave up less yards per carry defensively in the second half of the season because they practiced that way. Jimmy believes in more practice. The Eagles believe in no practice. Who's right? I know what the results led to with Jimmy Johnson building a dynasty. Nick Sirianni doesn't believe in practicing. I mean, are you crazy? How is Jalen Hurts supposed to get better? So you're telling me that the only way that Jalen Hurts right now is getting better is throwing a football around in shorts and a helmet, and you think that guy's going to be a Pro Bowl superstar player? Really? With no practice. Shit, bowlers practice. People who throw darts practice. Golfers practice. But not the Eagles. Hey, man. I got to tell you flat out, that's not the approach that I'm looking for. I think hard work, there's no substitute for hard work here. Limited practices because I'm afraid to get my guys hurt? Let me ask you this, Howie and Nick. Are you afraid to walk out your door because you're afraid to get hit by a bus? What kind of life do you live? Dude, if you want to be an elite football team, you think the New England Patriots, when they were winning 6 championships, you think they limited their practices? Those freaks were practicing in the snow, full gear. But not Nick. So, John McMullen, correct me if I'm wrong, Xander. John McMullen is predicting that Jalen Hurts is not going to play any preseason football. Hey, Jeremiah, you go right ahead. I'm going to sit here and go like this. That is a flawed approach. That's a flawed approach. You got a quarterback that's got to improve on finding reads, and he's not going to be in any preseason games? Dude, how are you going to get better in game situation? Controlled scrimmages? Tony, we're talking about practice here. Yeah, the only difference is that Jalen Hurts ain't Allen Iverson. Practice. Hey, I'm going to let AI roll. Okay? I know who that freak is. Jalen ain't in that conversation. I'm going to make a point to you a little bit later on that. Pro Football Focus thinks the same thing that Chris Sims thinks of him. Big Chris sounds like a scared philosophy. Dude, really, man, how do you have a scared philosophy when you got the best O-line in football? Showtime, what's up, brother? Eastside Monster, look at that. Mary Poppins mentality. Dude, you got to work your ass off. You guys go to work and work your ass off every day. Not the Eagles. I don't want to get hurt. These guys are acting like they're models going down the catwalk here. Nuts, right. How do you get into football shape? Dude, running on a treadmill and doing a minute mile or running around or the 12-minute run or 16 110s, that's to get you in shape. How about football shape? Jimmy Johnson on my Twitter page, at Dan Sileo Show. Look at what I tweeted. So the Eagles believe in fewer practices to prevent injuries. Coach Jimmy Johnson believed in more physical practices to prevent injuries. Who do you think is right? I know who is. Agree. Guy who won 2 Super Bowls is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame thinks the philosophy in Philadelphia is flawed. It is flawed. What coach doesn't want to practice? That's a Howie Roseman special right there. There, right there, my friends, is the influence and the meddling that you hate. Right there. That's a front office decision. Have you ever been around a junior football coach, a baseball coach, a Babe Ruth League coach, anybody that said, hey, let's not practice today. Let's just talk about it, and we'll play the game on Saturday. You know, we'll have a couple walkthroughs. What have you ever been around a coach who doesn't like coaching, teaching, preparing? Have you ever been in that conversation? I have never, in my competitive years of competing for sports, ever heard a coach go like this. You know, we're really not going to practice that hard because I'm afraid we're going to get hurt. Dude, Howie Roseman, that's him. That's him. Howie's afraid of getting his guys hurt before September. That's not a way to start the season out. That's a flawed system, a flawed mentality, a flawed approach, and a flawed identity. I want guys that are willing to work. Put the sacrifice in. Dude, if injuries happen, it's a contact sport. Shit, this guy's afraid that he's going to get hit by a bus down on Broad Street. Oh, I better not go out after 11 because somebody might mug me. How do you live your life like that? Chris, right? Soft. Dude, nuts. That's it right there, dude. Right there. You practice not to get hurt. The more you put in, the less you're going to get hurt. Dome. Dude, remember what I told you about the coaching staff? This is an F. There's not a coach in the NFL that would say, well, we're going to practice less and we're going to improve. The Eagles are reading their press clippings and they believe that they're better than I think they are too. But you got to put it not just on paper, you got to go out and put it on the field. Remember something, September rent's due. Rent's due in September. Damn. Howie Roseman and the meddling is right there. I'm sorry to tell you that, guys, but that's a flawed mentality. It's an absolute flawed mentality. Howie's a joke until he gets a real quarterback. Birdman, it's a good point. D. Gunn was talking about how overall in the NFL, Achilles injuries and hamstrings are at an all-time high. Yeah, because you know why? The new collective bargaining agreement doesn't allow you to have the multiple practices that you need to prepare for the upcoming season, and plus the new turf. That's why you're seeing multiple injuries, especially lower extremity injuries. That's exactly why. Bro, if you're not practicing football, you're setting yourself up for those lower extremity injuries. Steven says Eagles win the East this year. Well, we'll see, man. Paul says this, closer you are to danger, the further you are away from harm. Man, that is so good. Okay, that is so good. I love that, Paul. You must have coached some people in your day, or you must be an executive somewhere. They need practices. They need contact. Andy ran a tough schedule. We didn't have that many injuries each year. Paul, you must have coached people in your life. Tony says, Silz, dead on. What else could it be other than suits behind a desk making it up? We had almost zero injuries last year because of lesser practices. Really. And then you got into games against good teams and got your asses handed to you. You beat punks last year. And when you had to play against teams like Kansas City and San Francisco, you got your face pushed in. All the good teams push your face in. Yeah, if you want to beat good teams, you got to prepare for good teams. Every team that was good last year, you got bent over and spanked. Facts. You beat bums last year. And people are waving flags. Dude, this is unfinished business here. That Eagle team has to improve on beating. What was your most significant? Hey, let's do this, man. What was your most significant win last year? What do you think the most significant win was against a good team? What was that? Tell me who it was. Okay? What was the best win that Jalen Hurts had last year against a good football team? I'll wait. Anybody? The Broncos, they didn't make the playoffs. Saints didn't make the playoffs. Saints? I'm talking a good team. I'm talking a playoff team. Denver didn't make the playoffs. Who? Let's see here. Beat the Falcons. Okay, they lose to the Niners, playoff team. They lose to the Cowboys, playoff team. They lose to the Chiefs, playoff team. They beat a crummy Carolina team. They got beat by the Bucs, playoff team. They got beat by the Raiders, playoff team. They beat the bums in Detroit. Lost to a Charger team that's good. Beat a crummy Denver team. Beat a non-playoff Saints team. Lost to a shitty Giants team. Beat the Jets. They won against a crummy Washington team. They won against a crummy Giants team. They won against a crummy Washington team. Got their shit kicked in against Dallas. Move it up there, man. And then in the playoff game, they got worked over by the Bucs. Tell me again who their biggest win was last year. Tell me who their biggest win was. Dude, you think beating good teams, you're just going to roll your Eagle helmet out in the NFL and you're going to beat those teams? You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. And shit, I'll tell you something else about the Chiefs. Yeah, you know what, Anthony? The Chiefs ran the ball for 200 yards on you, and that's not what they do. They went like this against the Eagles last year. Hey, you know what? I don't want Mahomes to get hurt, so we're just going to run the ball. I don't even know who the running backs are. They beat all them crummy teams, and now you're not going to practice to get ready for the upcoming season where you can dominate. Dude, remember something here. When I'm underlining this, I'm picking the Eagles to win the NFC. So if I'm a little bit critical here, the reason that I'm a little bit critical is because let's not screw this up. Don't screw this up. You think you're going to roll your Eagle helmet out and people are going to run from you? You're in the wrong league. You're in the wrong league. Ryan, I'm in a bad mood because I don't like people who don't like to work. You're not going to work for it? Well, let's be healthy. The hell kind of sport do you think pro football is? I don't have to put the timer to work in. Yeah, that's right. They didn't practice in New England or Seattle. But the Eagles are just going to roll their helmets out. Man. But Silz, in all fairness, they were in the Bucs first, Chargers and 40. Hey, you know, you're usually in a sprint race, too, for 100 meters at the start. Everybody's really kind of in the race right out of the gate. But then eventually the good teams pull away and leave you in the dust. Remember something, too, and I get you, W2, you're right. There's a start and a finish. I don't dissect half the race. I look at the entire race. That's what people like to do in life. They look at half the story in life. Well, he was good here, but not here. And they don't tell the full story. The full story was that the Eagles had an unexpected, really good record last year against inferior teams, and they beat teams they should have beat. When you have the top running attack, you're going to win a lot of games. And that's why they beat the shitty teams last year and couldn't compete against the teams that have versatility, with the teams that can throw the ball and run it. There wasn't one team last year. Sander, put that schedule up of the games from a year ago, and I want to show you some. Go to the top of the let's take a look at teams that were versatile, could run the ball and also throw the ball, and see how they fared against them. Atlanta's a crappy team. Jimmy G could throw the ball and run it. 49ers throw it and run it very effectively. Dallas, the same thing. Kansas City, I didn't know they could run the ball, but they went for 200 yards on you. Carolina was a shit show last year. The Bucs are versatile in running the ball and throwing it. The Raiders are versatile in running and throwing it. The Lions were a train wreck. The Chargers are versatile in running it with Eckler throwing it and running it. Denver had no quarterback last year. The Saints, the Saints had Trevor Siemian. The Giants, Danny Dimes and Barkley didn't even play. The Jets, there's no versatility there. There was no versatility in Washington. The Cowboys have it, and the Bucs do. Every time they got into a football game with those teams that could throw it and run it, they were never in it. They were never in it. Look, I'm gonna reel it in here and move on here. But my point is this. Dude, you want to get better. You just can't sit back worrying about injuries. I get the war of attrition is something that you always have to be worried about when you're getting ready for an upcoming season. I totally get that. And you do have to temper and get this. Forgive me. Maybe it's my mentality because I'm a defensive-minded guy. So, maybe that's where I'm coming from. But at the end of the day, man, you want to be a champion, you got to work for it. You can't be sitting around going, well, if I get hit by lightning today or get hit by a bus, okay? Or like I said, if you're walking out and all of a sudden you break your leg because you fall off your steps. I mean, you can't be concerning yourself with that. You got to go out and prepare. Dude, Rico just brought something up, and I'm going to tell you there's the difference right there between championship football teams and teams that are not championship football teams. Right there, Rico. Okay? Look at G Sharks, what he said. Is this guy an Eagles fan or what? Or just a football fan? Dude, are you crazy? I'm talking about being a champion. I'm not talking about whether I told you, I'm picking you to win the NFC. Don't screw it up. But Rico's right. Let me tell you something. When you practice game tempo all the time, the game is never shocking to you when you step on the field. How many times did you see teams get out and they're behind 7-0, 10-0? I know immediately what happened. They don't practice game speed. They don't practice game tempo. I worked for the greatest coach in my lifetime, and that's Jimmy John. We did everything game tempo. Every drill, every practice, every workout session, when we ran to our water, when we ran in the weight room, everything was game tempo. So when we got into the game, it wasn't an unfamiliar scenario. The surroundings, we were prepared for it. Everything we did resembled being in a game. That's what Bama does. That's what the Patriots do. Okay? There is no team in the NFL that is better prepared for a football game or has better adjustments. He may not have the talent at the quarterback position right now, Bill Belichick, but there's no better prepared football team than that team in New England. And that's what it takes. Same thing down in Tuscaloosa. They practice game tempo. It's called championship tempo. I went to a Mike McCoy practice once. Okay, I went to a Mike McCoy practice. He used to be the head coach of the Chargers. I saw guys just walking the drills, lollygagging around. Not really, not really a lot of effort on moving from drill to drill or going from 9-on-7 or 7-on-7, any of that. And I went like this, shit, man, these guys are going to be average this year because they don't have a championship pedigree with them. These guys don't know that you have to have everything game speed at all times. I could see the tempo, and I can see it every time I show up to a practice, whether it's my daughter's rugby or it's somebody playing badminton. When people don't practice and don't practice game tempo, you're never ready. How can you practice or not have a practice and be ready for game tempo and game speed when it counts? You're just going to flip a switch? Good luck to you, man. Okay? Keynes is right. Kobe did everything at game speed, so he didn't have to change his technique. That is so the point. See Keynes right here? Look at that. But you know what happens, Keynes, when people do that? They get pissed off because, hey, come on, man, you got to tone it down a bit. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm going to move on. Made the point here. Watch this. That's some of the stuff we're going to keep a notepad on. This is what I'm going to write. Some of the things, I'm going to have a column, good, bad, and ugly. Good, bad, and ugly. And I'm going to keep a notepad. And I'm going to put this in the bad column because it ain't ugly because we haven't seen it yet because rent's due in September. I'm going to put it in the bad column. Doesn't want to practice hard. That's the headline. Doesn't want to practice a lot. In fear of injury. Even sounds bad writing it. Doesn't want to practice a lot in fear of injury. That's in the bad column. That's the first thing that I've said or written bad about the Eagles since the draft. And Jimmy Johnson corroborated it today on my Twitter page. Who would you rather have coaching your Eagles? Nick Sirianni or Coach Johnson? Okay? Right here. Was just inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame last year. And he thinks the system that they're doing now is flawed. Okay. Let's move on.